going on, nerds and blerds? It's your guy, Nerd Solo, and we're here with another blerd check. And today we're going to be talking to the writer and publisher at Midnight Comics, Lloyd Jones. Lloyd, how are you
How's it going?
today?
Good. How about yourself?
Not bad, man. I appreciate you joining us. And also, I appreciate you sending me those comics. The Gray is really good. Honestly, when I was reading it, I'm like, this is it gives me like Tony Stark vibes, like
hmm
her intellect, and the only thing different is she's a little bit more responsible, not when her stuff go into the wrong
Right.
hands. But
Very
yeah,
true. And I gotta give credit because that is all Tasha. Tasha is the author for that story there.
yeah,
I did character designs and stuff, but yeah, she killed that one.
yeah.
She killed that one
I
for sure.
I want to get into Soul next. I think that's the next one
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get into. Have not got into Unbeloved yet.
Okay.
But that is why we are here. Unbeloved is which one is it? Volume 4 or issue 4?
Chapter 4. Yep.
Chapter 4, sorry. That one is your latest Kickstart.
hmm
Um first of all, can you tell us a little bit about the story?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, Unbeloved is about a pair of Shinto deities who fail to save the world, and it's up to their kids to prevent a second apocalypse. So you'll see some familiar names and characters, if you will, names specifically like Izanagi, Izanami, Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi, Susanoo, those type of names. Um, they're like all the Sharingan techniques from Naruto and stuff like that. But they're all based on, again, Shinto lore. So we said, what if we placed them in the forefront of the battle instead of humans like in Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen? And thus the Unbeloved was born.
Okay. Nice, nice. Now, what inspired this particular project? Like what did you watch anything specifically? You mentioned Naruto. Was it anything like that?
Um, One of the things that we wanted to do in quite a few of these stories is kind of take some of different lores, different religions, ancient texts and stuff like that, and say, what if they were in the modern day? Or if any of these myths or tales are true, what would that ramification be on the world as we know it? And so, like Soul, right? We pull from the Egyptian mythology, right? So same thing on the inverse here with Shinto mythology. What does that look like on the modern day? Would the pair Izanagi and Izanami be able to handle all of these threats by themselves? And if we were using them as a crutch and they disappeared or failed, how would humanity pick up the pieces in their absence, right? And so those are just kind of
Mhm.
those questions. Like again, if these beings from all of these different mythologies existed in those respective stories, how does the world as we know it get affected by that? And that's kind of the overarching question that was posed.
Mhm.
And then we just kind of went in. And so we chose they ended up being called the Unbeloved. They are kind of the children that were kind of tossed aside, thrown away, if you would. I believe in lore, Awashima was really just an island, right? So there was no actual being that was Awashima, but she's one of the triplets there. Hiriko is another character in the story. He's born with no limbs, very similar to how he is in lore, and he actually grows up to be who was considered one of the seven lucky gods. He changes his name to Ebisu, who is the god of fishing over there.
Mhm.
And then there's Kagutsuchi, the flame god, who is the reason why Izanami, one of the initial deities in lore for that, he's the reason why she perishes. So again, we took all of these characters and said, well, there's not really a lot to go off of with these children here. Let's make the focus on them. And again, in the absence of their parents, what does the world look like?
Okay. Okay. Now that's a hell of a verbal trailer, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, just for a second, putting that story in the Kickstarter to a side, just for a second, can you tell us a bit about your journey into comics and what inspired you to become a writer and publisher?
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, me and Tasha have been writers for ever and a day, or just creatives really forever and a
Sorry,
day.
you guys,
Um,
because you're the only one on the screen. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
if she wants to join in, I think I heard a kid in the background. If she can't, that's
yeah,
fine. But
yeah,
you know,
yeah. We got three. We got three there in the background. She's getting them sorted out for bed
Oh,
right
trust
now.
me,
So
three.
solo dolo.
So you guys are stronger than us. We got two. We always look at each other. We're like, you kind of one another. And then my son comes barreling around the corner. I'm like, oh,
Like,
let's hold off on that. Hold off on
yeah,
that thought.
man, they're all 2 years apart too. It's just like, whoo,
So we
okay,
got a boy and a girl, 6 years apart.
okay,
So
okay. We got two girls and a boy.
okay, yeah.
So,
So
but
if
yeah.
we had another one right now, it'd be three, all 6 years apart. Like
Oh wow.
because
Got to keep the pattern going. No, I'm
well,
joking.
six. Keep the pattern. You're not helping.
I'm sorry.
Make sure she doesn't watch this episode.
We're gonna share it everywhere. We're gonna clip this part.
No, but yeah, what like tell us about your guys' journey in like getting into comic book writing and publishing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so my dad got me into comic books really early. So one of my earliest, well, he's a big Captain America fan. And he was trying to get me on the Marvel. I ended up being a DC boy growing up. So Batman the Animated Series, he used to record for me on VHS and stuff, so I could just watch it at any point. But yeah, comic books have just been a big part of my life growing up or what have you. My first anime, Fist of the North Star. So that was another thing where it's just like, yo,
Ooh.
right now, I know I ain't had no business watching it as a kid, but
It
whatever.
happens. It happens.
Um, but it was from there. Of course, I played video games a lot, and this will lead right into it. I two of my favorite games and stories really, Star Fox 64
Yes,
and Metal Gear.
sir.
Like those are my games, right?
Hmm.
And as I got older, especially on the Star Fox side, it was like, it was, it's a very cute game, right? Colorful animals and stuff like that. And then you look at the story and you're like, these are mercenaries.
I was about to
You know what I
say,
mean?
what do you mean cute? And I forget that they're little cute, like woodland creatures, basically,
Hmm.
But I remember just playing that storyline over and over. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, exactly. And so like even going back and listening to the whole like intro story and stuff, you're just like, oh no, people are dying. Like
Hmm.
you know, time traveler moves a chair a little bit. In an alternate world, like the same group, if paid right, could have been on Andros' side. Like it was just obviously there was a revenge story in there as well, but just like, just it's a very interesting kind of
Hey, like a
thing.
what if scenario.
And that is something that we absolutely used to love doing, and actually is a big part of our story. But yeah, I love the feeling that I got when I was younger, with how Star Fox made me feel, how in depth and uh, uh, convoluted at times. But I absolutely love the storyline of Metal Gear Solid. Right, you don't know who to trust. You are
Hmm.
actually the reason why the bad guys almost won in the first one. Right. So just those feelings that I got growing up, I initially wanted to be a video game designer. I went to school for video game art and design initially, but I went to ITT Tech. If you guys know about that whole thing, that did
Hmm.
not pan out.
Uh-huh.
But through that and our love for anime, we actually did a lot of how we would have done it. Writing what ifs, fanfics, and stuff like that. And it got to a point when we were watching Naruto, and we got to the end of Shippuden. And it was just like they should have lost, and if they lost, we still could have had Boruto because everybody got what they want, right? Is that not the goal of the Infinite Tsukiyomi for everybody to
That
get what
was
they want?
basically we just
That was
trying
the
to
whole
sell.
point,
He was trying to sell it. That's the pitch.
right? So, all right, bet is Boruto not essentially everybody in the past getting exactly what they wanted? You know what I'm saying? Like Naruto became Hokage, Hinata got Naruto, Sakura got Sasuke. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean, me and
everybody.
my buddy, every once in a while, we had joked like, "Are they sure they're not actually in Infinite Tsukiyomi?"
Now, who would not be affected by the Infinite Tsukiyomi? The Otsuki, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in my, again, this is a while back now, but like the Kara organization is run by one of them, right? So what if, honestly, like throughout the whole sequence of events, right? Not to go in depth, I know we're not here to talk about that specifically, but the entire sequence of events, what if at the end of the day, Boruto becomes the true hero by freeing everybody by the Infinite Tsukiyomi, but has to give up the fact that I never existed and I'll never be appreciated with that. He thus becomes a true hero at the end of the day. And again, that connection with the Otsuki breaks him out of the existence of really just being a dream-esque entity,
Mhm.
and he frees everybody, and everybody's just, now world peace is
Just
achieved,
like this
and there is still a
generation,
pain.
he'd be
Right,
like this generation's Itachi.
right,
Like the next
right.
generation's Itachi. But that's like you said, we go into it. That'd be a different podcast, just talking
There we
about
go.
that. But you said that's I can see how your mind works now. Yeah, I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
there was a lack of again, it's a different type of story they were trying to tell, but there just feels like a lack of stakes in a lot of series. And
Hmm.
they really had an opportunity to be like, yeah, they got what they wanted, but the bad guy won. And now you can kind of have that argument after the fact, like, well, is that a bad thing necessarily? Da, 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 da. But anyway, in our stories, we're just like, yeah, every time the hero's not going to win, and the villain only needs one good time, right? But what happens next, right? That's the stories that we want to tell. Like, if the hero fails, now what? Because there's still going to be people left, right? And we don't want to just say 10 years ago when the world felt like, no, I want you to have those moments of hope. Like, imagine if we saw the Android saga from the Z Fighters perspective in real time. And the series just kept going until we got to future Gohan and Trunks. And then
Hmm.
Trunks goes back in time and saves the day. But when he leaves on that time machine, we go with him because that's the timeline.
Yeah,
You know what
that
I'm saying?
is just the inverse.
Right. Because going backwards again, just give me more of an idea how my mind works. Technically, Roshi and Shen were the past version of future Gohan and Trunks. Their entire school, their master, every martial artist at the time died in the King Piccolo Wars, and they had to rebuild. And the world
Mm.
turned out okay. And they set up that next generation. And then so on and so forth. So that's again being able to see those stakes and seeing them rebuild and train and try, right? And whether they fail or not, hope lives on as long as they're there. Sorry.
No, no, no. That don't even apologize for that. That was answering the question and then some.
Fair enough.
So that explains how you got into writing
Mhm.
comics. Uh, is that kind of like you got into writing comics together, or what? Okay.
Yeah, that was yeah. So, we were talking about it again. We did those what ifs and stuff like that. And it was just like, you know what? Tasha mostly was like, you know what? We should actually pull the trigger on this. We should actually, because we had story ideas. I tried to write a manga in high school. Just it wasn't all that great, but we grow.
Mhm.
But it was just like, yeah, let's just actually try it, just do it and
See what
see what
happens.
happens. So we just started writing, and then once we finished writing as much as the story we were comfortable with, we were just like, all right, let's find an artist, right? And then we found an artist for one or two stories, and just slowly was just like, well, how do you print a book out? Like, who's the printers, right? We're not going to print it ourselves, and just so each step was kind of a journey on of its own, but we kind of tackled it one at a time, right? And
So it's
so,
kind of like a curiosity to each one instead of like
yes,
following a handbook. You guys kind of just wandered
right,
in the wilderness of writing.
yeah, exactly that. So, yeah.
Nice. And then the Midnight Comics was born.
Essentially, yeah, and, a little, inspiration for the name, essentially, 2 things, right? In regards to midnight, we wanted there's a gentleman that we went to school with, everybody called him Midnight, right? So I know that
Hmm.
was kind of a term for, Black folks, right? Though, and so we wanted that to say like, "Hey, this is a Black-led, Black-run company," right? But on the inverse also in regards to the name, we also know that we're X amount of minutes for midnight, right? And so you'll see
Hmm.
somewhat of a theme in some of our stories. A lot of our initial stories weren't superhero stories. I'll start there. A lot of our stories took place in almost a post-apocalyptic kind of grim situation. And again, the
Yeah.
name is we're X amount of minutes from midnight, the end. But again, with that blood moon situation, there's still light, so that means there's still
Mm.
hope, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so there's some of the inspiration for the name there.
I do like that. Now, as both a writer and a publisher, how do you balance creativity with business and like business side of the industry, basically?
Oh man, if I'm being transparent, it's tough. It's a struggle. When we first started, we were only really creative minded, right? So it was just like, yeah, we're gonna write stuff, we're gonna get artwork done. Of course, a lot of it was out of pocket, from my 9 to 5. to get things started. But it was just like, yeah, we're gonna get books done. We're gonna go to conventions, and then this is just gonna be that's it. Until we went to we actually ended up going to a program with Fiverr in 1863 last year. And so we got to learn more about the business side and start implementing like, hey, like, let's get those numbers right. Let's
Yeah.
get your books right. Let's get organized with marketing. Let's all, focus on these other things, not just putting whatever money you make from a convention to another book, right? Like
Hmm.
there's more to it than just creating, right? How do you still get this? Try to go into do more book signings, go to more get contracts with companies and stuff like that to also create for them to have those multiple streams of income. Then you come back and worry about all that. Because again, one of the things I did say prior to going to Fiverr, but now it clicks even more for me, is like, so we have this one book, but it's like, oh yeah, people have bought it, but how many millions are out there that still haven't experienced it? What are you rushing for? Right. So that was where things was just like, all right, what they're saying is kind of justification for that thought process, right? Like, all right,
Yeah.
especially now with this Unbeloved book. Okay, it's a full volume. It's the entire arc. There's millions of people that haven't seen it yet. So let's sit on it for a second. Let's build a fan base, build a community around it, and then move forward with more stories from that verse. Right? Why? Who are we rushing for? No, we can't keep up with Marvel and DC. We're not keeping up with Shonen Jump. That's okay, right? We actually get to have that kind of personalized experience. So
Yeah.
so yeah, anyway, so now in asking your question, just we got a different mindset now. And so it's still trying to find that balance because it's two of us. We do have interns, but still trying to find that balance because we still love creating at the same time is
Yeah.
difficult. But we do just schedule days out now, the short version. We schedule days out to go this day, these 2 days is all business,
It's
right?
law.
It's law. That's it. And every other day is just fun stuff. But let's just sit down and this is the day to make those calls, schedule this, look at the books and all that other stuff. So just scheduling and having hard stop times and when to focus in and hone in on what we're supposed to do.
Okay. Now I know this is I don't want to get this wrong. Your first manga, right?
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
first manga. Now, even though it's your first manga, do you draw inspiration from anime, movies, video games
Oh
more
yeah.
than each other? Like, where do you usually get your inspiration from for characters and
Oh,
themes?
characters and themes. So with these, so with the Unbeloved specifically, I did stick really close to lore. Um, I stuck really close to lore in regards to the kind of initial concept of them. But what we ended up doing again is taking what did their culture evolve, right? As they
Okay.
evolved in these different eras and stuff like that. What did the clothes like? What did they draw inspiration from at those different points in time and implemented that into the characters? And so we see them at every stage of all, because obviously, of course, we're talking about godlike beings. They're
Yeah.
going to evolve through the thousands of years that they're around depending on whether or not they're the ones that influence that change again kind of depends on how they look. So like initially when we see like Izanagi, he doesn't even wear a shirt, right? Like, you're talking about these beings, and I'll talk a little bit more about them in a second, but what are clothes, right? You can have almost an Adam and Eve situation with them at the beginning of at the actual beginning of their story. They're just brought forth. They're just created, right? Or when they gain consciousness, they just are, and so they believe themselves to be God to the point where, and this is some really kind of behind the scenes stuff. I haven't showcased this yet. I
Exclusives.
don't think I've talked about it. It's slick exclusive here, but their initial names is just he and she, right?
Okay.
And through the years, they meet, and I won't uh, um, say who they meet in their journey, but this other person sees them inviting others to come with them after a certain event. Tasha hates when I say that, but I know like some shows say that, just like, what do you mean? What is the
What
certain
does that
event,
mean?
right? What does that mean? But yeah, after a certain event,
Kids, cliffhangers.
uh, right. Some guy actually sees them again, inviting others to be like, "Hey, after this, y'all are gonna need a place to stay. Come with us." And he names them "He Who Invites and she who invites. And when you translate the names Izanagi and Izanami, that's what those names mean,
Mm.
right? And so then they bring them off, and then they continue their mission, which is to maintain order and structure in the shapeless chaos that is the world. And they face off against all these yokais and demons and stuff. And then and then we pick up with that journey proper. But again, until they meet these other people and stuff like that, what are clothes? You know what I mean? Like, what are names? What are these things? So again, you're going to see them evolve as beings, and then when they have kids and they have kids, so on and so forth, we see those changes, and there's additions to the cultures that they take in seen on their person. And so history is the short answer, in regards to your question, is really history. But of course there are some anime inspirations. Hell's Paradise, right?
Yeah.
Naruto I mentioned, right? Again, because Naruto
Ragnarok.
really,
You seen
uh,
Ragnarok?
I have seen Record of Ragnarok, but I haven't pulled from that as much.
No, I just when you were explaining it, I was thinking of that. Not thinking you pulled from it, but
Mhm.
like similarities.
Yeah. Right, because the fact that you're kind of seeing the different eras and how they, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
just like
absolutely.
because I do love that when I see because a lot of animes like I'm a big fantasy, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings,
Mhm,
things like that, creatures of the Fae type stuff, and I love anime. So,
mhm.
but I also, history is one of my best subjects in school. So
Okay,
whenever those things combine, it's really awesome. It catches my eye immediately. So
okay.
yeah.
So yeah, well, yeah.
What is the ultimate vision for this project? Are you thinking, did you have like a long-term goal when you started it out? Was it supposed to be just a one-shot story and now you're here at the fourth issue, or are you
So
thinking about something bigger like animation?
absolutely animation. In regards to writing wise, like everything that we've come out with had multiple issues done before we get a single page drawn.
Nice.
So even this, I've finished writing up until chapter 13 for this story. I
Hmm.
have the entire series outlined, right? So writing wise, I have it like fully scripted out to 13, but we usually start at the end of our stories and then work our way backwards. Um so yeah. So these definitely are going to be more than one shots, but eventually, yes, I would absolutely love to get to a point of animation. Uh Tasha is she went to school for theater. So she's more of like, let's get this on the screen.
Let's see.
Let's get this,
Nice.
yeah, let's get some live action stuff going, especially for things like the Gray, and
Yeah.
Bonnie and so on
Oh,
and so
the
forth.
gray needs
Uh,
to be.
come on,
I,
come on.
I'm only. I just already like the premise. I already don't see where it's going, but I like where I think it's going.
Oh yeah. Yes,
Like the
yes. And the
character.
next is getting done right now. So
As soon as I finished
it
it, I was like,
continues to
ugh.
escalate.
As soon as I finished it, I was like, ugh. I should have just waited until it was all done to buy it all. 'Cause I hate
And
waiting.
that she's got that written up until she finished 10 or 11 for that. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting the art done for a lot of these stories,
If y'all
honestly.
need some testers like to read, just let me know. I got you.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, she wrote a graphic novel in a week, and she actually is looking for some test readers. So let me message you,
Let's do
or let
it.
me tell her, and to start up, like, so there was a I heard this on, oh gosh, what's the name of the YouTube channel? Monitor Comics. And he was talking about how a lot of the manga and stuff like that, you start with, you start with a one shot, right? And then you take those elements, if it's not exactly the story you want, you take those elements and then do the actual story that you want to do, or edit it, or sprucing it up the way that you want to. Because in the case of, we keep coming back to Naruto, but that's the example that he used in the video. In the video, or in the original one shot for Naruto, he was the son of the nine-tailed fox spirit, not the host of it, right? And so, they did that, there's some shenanigans and stuff like that. He helped some folks out, but then we see the shift when we actually get to the first issue of Naruto, right? In the first episode, he's not the child of it, right? But again, so it's one of those, just do it, see how you feel about
Yeah,
it, and then, make those edits and stuff like that from there.
exactly. But I'll get back into my vision. So you were saying like
Mhm.
animations and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's beautiful. Pertaining to the Kickstarter, let some of the people know who may want to get involved with it. What some of the rewards for backers you might have that might,
Absolutely.
want to join the campaign.
Yeah, so of course we have all of the kind of the covers and art and what have you available on there. But of course, the main thing I do have some next to me are the issues themselves, right? So you can get them all separately. So chapter 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can get them all separately. They are going to have the new logo or the specific logo for it. There is a slight change. There are differences in it. That's a whole other conversation for another time. We'll dive into that. You can get all of these stories separately, and or you can get, this is our Unbound example, but we have the volume that we don't sell on our website or anything like that. This will have the entire arc all in it, the entire Yomi saga, if you would. So 250 plus pages of Unbeloved awesomeness. So we kept it really simple on this one. We're only the funding goal is only 1,200 this time around. The stretch goal, if you would be the 3,000, 5,000, 6,000 round, because then we'll be able to get 3 more books done.
Mm.
Outside of printing, of course, we'll be able to get 3 more books done in the series and really get this next arc going, because we're going to see a huge tonal shift, and then we'll be introduced to the Precious Three, which is the Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, and Susanoo, a little bit of their history and where they've been as the world's been getting destroyed.
Mm. Now that sounds promising. I'm just going to tell you right now. Tomorrow I was planning on it tomorrow. I'm going to be
Okay.
getting. I think that was the $65 one, the volume. The volume we were just
Yes.
talking. Yeah, that's the one I'm getting.
Yeah, that's the signed
I was
one. Yeah,
like,
the
I'm gonna
60
just
one.
get
Yeah,
it.
that's the signed one.
And I also
Okay.
like I love comic books, but I love like the thick uh
Yes.
yeah, the hard color copy, like all that. Like those things are fascinating to me. Digital
We gotta
copies,
we
I
we
said
gotta
it
get
on
you right on the next one.
I got exactly. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Trust me. I was saying last night on our review, we were reviewing Hammer. Um,
Greg's?
yes,
Yes.
Greg Anderson. Sorry.
Yes.
We were talking about it. I'm like, man, I love supporting everybody. That's why I have all these digital copies and stuff. But
Mhm.
I just be buying
Something
them for
about the
no.
physical.
I buy them for no reason because I'm going to buy the physical anyway. I'm just
Can't go
buying it
wrong.
because it's the only thing available right now, and I gotta support and I gotta read it so I can review it. But yeah, so that's the one I'll be getting.
Thank you.
No problem, man. Of course, you guys put out good work. Uh,
Thank you.
Trust me. I'm trying to get. That's why I'm trying to get my daughter to read The Gray. She's
Yes.
into what is that anime called? It's big in Japan. The main character is called like Miku. It's one of the biggest animes in Japan, but it's not big in the US. And so
Hmm.
she's reading that manga right now. It'll come to me later.
Okay.
But how important is representation and diversity in the stories you create and publish?
Very much. Very much, very much important. So one of the things that we wanted to do is, as you can see on this, like all of the faces on this row, all of them was like there was no representation growing up for a lot of us, right? A lot of our generation and prior to, we didn't see us, we didn't see anybody else on the screen that was a person of color, and so we wanted to make sure that our kids did not experience that exact same thing, right? And more than our kids, that their generation didn't have to go through that. And until we entered the space, we didn't realize how many people were actually doing this. So we were just like, oh, it was just a matter of exposure. But in regards to us, it's the most prominent thing I would dare say in regards to the brand, right? In regards to
Yeah.
the voice that we're trying to tell is, yeah, we need to see more people of color, but not only do we need to see more people of color, we need to showcase people from different walks of life because we're not all the same, right? So, the gray scientist, super smart, creating, all this wonderful tech, and then Soul is, well, he's not dumb or anything like that, right? But he's not a tech genius, right? He has the power of 2 Egyptian gods that dwell within him. He's trying to learn about himself. It's kind of a journey, not coming of age, right? But a journey of self discovery,
Okay.
right? And so, what is he hasn't focused on, he's learning about the powers, but now in the face of adversity, what are you going to do, right? As you're learning about yourself and dealing with that, right? So it's just, everybody's got their own story, their own perspective, and where they come from and their own experiences. And so it was very important for us in each of these stories to make sure to showcase that everybody is unique in their own right and has a different journey. Instead of the comedic relief we're used to seeing in
Yeah.
media for us and so on and so forth. The military person or the guy with the electrical powers. Not, again, electrical powers are cool, but there's more that Black people can do.
And that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, electric lightning powers, ability to
Hmm.
control the weather. What some of the coolest powers out there, but
Yeah. But
it,
everybody.
at the
Yeah.
repetition is crazy on that
Right.
one.
So,
But
but then yeah, and then yeah, we can go on about that one too.
exactly, that's a whole nother podcast in itself as well. Um, real quick before we head to this break,
Mhm.
what role does the community, your community, like fans, backers, conventions, what role does that play in your success?
Oh man, it's the reason why we're doing it, right? Seeing the kind of, we'll go into conventions, especially being able to see the excitement on people's faces or people leaving reviews like you did and stuff like that. Like, okay, well, we're really doing a good job. There was a couple that went to a convention, they just saw a married couple following their passions, and they was like, that was my confirmation. I need to do the same.
Yes.
Seeing people realizing that they can move forward in life with their passions just because we decided to do it, right? Or just being a part of that community is just like, okay, we're in the right spot, right? This is what it's about. It's, yeah, we're telling stories that we always want to tell, but being able to motivate and inspire others the way that we were inspired, right? In the stories and content that we, kind of consumed in our youth, it's the whole thing. So no, that's definitely a major part of why we do what we do.
Oh yeah. Um, do you know what's the next convention you guys will be at?
Um, Not at the moment, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay. I thought I was gonna
We
get
just
lucky.
did it.
You'd say Atlantic Comic Con.
No, unfortunately not. No. See, the hard part for us, and this probably could have went with your question earlier about business and stuff, but it's hard to get babysitters for three kids.
Hey,
you know,
as not a person that travels to comic cons as a married couple, it's hard to get babysitters in general. Like
yeah.
my wife,
You're like, yeah,
she's not even in this world, and she doesn't come to conventions and stuff. But you know, I'm sure you guys are whew, like
for a weekend. Ah, ah.
good luck.
Consistently? Get out
Good
of here.
luck.
So yeah.
All right, we are back with Lloyd Jones of Midnight Comics. All right, sir. We're just gonna have a couple questions to close it out for you with, and then a fun little rapid fire, questionnaire round.
Okay.
All right. So if you could have any comic character of yours or someone else's adapted into a film or series, which one would it be? Or do you even have one? Have you ever thought about it?
Any one of our characters adapted to a film or series? Gray's my favorite character, but that's low hanging fruit. I want to do oh, I would say our character Fatima from the story Admani. I want a series done, and I slick one a series or movie done, and I want Jordan Peele on it because she
Mm.
is dealing with mental health and her fire abilities, and it has moments of like a psychological thriller that I think psychological horror that I feel like he would do justice.
Mm.
So yeah, that's probably the story to start with.
Now, do you want to give us a little backstory, like a little summary of Edmani?
Yeah, so she is so this is loosely based on Tasha here. But she is dealing with mental health issues, and in the midst of that, she develops firepower. So the question we like to ask people is like, if all of a sudden right now you just spontaneously combusted, would you be excited or terrified? Right? 9 times out of 10, people would say like, yeah, absolutely terrified. And you have nobody to teach you how to use it. You're not
Mm.
actually physically getting hurt by it, but the things around you are getting burnt up, right? So no rhyme or reason. You don't know where it came from, and as you're dealing with your issue, it only intensifies that much more. Who do you go to? How do you deal with that? That feeling of isolation and desperation, as literally everything is falling apart and burning around you. How do you overcome that, right? And so, yeah, so that's a little bit about that.
Now that's another reason why you should check out Midnight Comics. Just saying that sounds like a story you need to go check out. um, so sorry. So I heard some knocking. I couldn't tell if my son was knocking on the door or just on his wall.
Yeah,
I think he's knocking on his wall.
Lord of mercy. And then you see the door creak open.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, honestly, like there's probably a couple episodes of the podcast where my co-hosts are laughing at me because my son's standing behind me and he scares me because I didn't know he was there.
Horror movie situation.
Yeah, I'm like, where did you come from? Where was it? What's one thing you hope readers walk away with after reading your comics? Like generally, is there like a general
Um,
theme, or do you always have something you try to get them to take away from, or is it
um,
usually just get lost in the story?
in some of them, it is just kind of a get lost in your stories, get lost in the story situation. But in quite a few of them, it's just, I guess, try to take that moment to hopefully be inspired, or at the very least. But in some of these stories, our hope is, especially towards the latter issues of Edmani, where it's just like you can overcome this thing that feels hopeless, right? And so each story will have its own theme, if you will. But yeah, in the case of like Edmani and some others, it's just like you're not alone, right? You can overcome these things. Or like in the case of the Gray, you can be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to like the response that somebody gives you. Sometimes you do have to take matters into your own hands and go out and achieve whatever your goal is in whatever given moment, right? Now, maybe don't do as much as she did, right? There could be another way of dealing with that, or make sure she reads that contract. But still, like it's okay, right? To go after or pursue whatever your truth and passion is. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, basically, that's all the questions I had for you. Like I
Okay.
said, I do have this quick question rapid fire round for you if you are
Okay.
willing to participate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Uh-oh.
So it's nothing, no, a lot of these are just personal choice.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, Marvel or DC?
Ooh, recent years Marvel.
Recent years, Marvel. I do remember you said you started off as a DC guy.
Yeah.
Hero or anti-hero?
Hero.
Favorite comic book villain?
Favorite comic book villain? Oh gosh, what is his name? There was a Batman villain that kind of popped up and handled business. It was one of those off the wall names. He had the circular mask. I think it was something stupid, like onomatopoeia or something like that. Like it was
I
something.
haven't been up on the
stupid.
DC comics in a while.
Yeah,
I read Static recently.
I like it. I like a villain that's just like I'm here. I'm gonna. There was one comment he took out Bruce Wayne's girlfriend. I think he figured out that Bruce Wayne was Batman, and he stabbed the Joker and said, "Hey, I did the job for you. I'm out of here." And then you're like, and then Batman, and Gordon's like, "We don't have to save him." And Batman was just like, "No, we have to." And of course, I'm reading it like that was your out, bro. But that character, like he just came in, did his business, and then kept it pushing. So yeah,
Just like a tumbleweed, just came through and kept it moving.
Came through and just did it right. So I like it. That's
For which of your Kickstarter characters would you throw into a battle with Batman?
Blue Morpho for sure. She's a vigilante. Technically she's from Las Vegas, Nevada. She's a vigilante. Her name is Yara Michaels. She very skilled gymnast, had the opportunity to go to the Olympics, got a full scholarship. This story takes place in the 90s. She ends up in the LA riots, and she loses her scholarship because, you know, those cops got acquitted and stuff like that. And there's this anger that's kind of burning her. She's like, I did everything right, and everything's still falling apart because she got arrested for the LA riots. She loses her scholarship. She can't go to school for it, but there's still a hurt. There is still people that are in need, and she has to come to the decision of whether or not she'll throw away her identity of Yara Michaels and become the Blue Morpho. So I would definitely have Blue Morpho go against the bat. Yeah,
that's a good one, because, you know, it's always like you think of like Robin being in like the circus, being an acrobat, and, you know, having his problems, you know, having to, as a kid growing up, you know, butting heads with the Batman.
Right. And so now we have Vigilante that ain't got all the money, right? That doesn't have, you know what I mean? Like, now, how do you navigate that? You don't have anything to fall back on. Now what? So yeah, so Blue Morpho.
Probably got a chip on your shoulder. Probably don't look like rich kids.
So, fun fact: we have we used to play DC Universe Online a lot, and so we actually said, well, what if we gave our characters a voice and wrote those as like actual episodes and stuff? And so I have a snippet of, or a script of, Blue Morpho being displaced and ending up in Gotham, and her and Batman kind of butting heads on.
I forgot about that game. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right, first comic you ever read?
Very first comic I ever read. It was the one that Maximum Carnage, the video game, was based off of. Gosh, why was I reading that? But yeah, when we get to see Carnage. I guess it was Maximum Carnage. I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, it was our first kind of introduction to Carnage and all of them, and Doppelganger and Shriek. I think it was Shriek as well. And yeah, and so getting to see, you know, Spider-Man and Venom people and all that. But yeah, that issue and
era. Which of your characters would best survive a horror movie?
Ooh, best survive a horror movie. You know what? I probably, with that one, I'd have to give that to the Unbeloved characters, because they have to go through a little horror movie-esque situation in there. So a slight zombie apocalypse situation in chapter 2. So yeah, I give it to Hiroko and Awashima of the Unbeloved.
Okay. And anime, or I'm sorry, if you could pick one artist, dead or alive, to draw for you, who would it be?
Ooh, that is very tough. Oh gosh. What is his last name? Is it Murata? Berserk. The guy from Berserk.
I know
there are elements. Yeah, there are elements to this story, man.
You think about this one specifically, I could tell you're like, ooh. That goes perfectly with your story.
Yeah. So yeah, they look cute. The kids are, oh, look at them. They go through hell. they go through hell in this story, and so Berserk. It fits perfectly. It fits perfectly. I want the contrast. These Naruto, you know, you're not Yu Yu Hakusho, but OG Dragon Ball, like all these characters, they're just so. And then you see the contrast, like the Demon King Piccolo arc or any of these other things. You're like, these characters that I love, like, I don't know if they're gonna make it, or even the idea, like, you know, you got Spider-Man versus like Venom, and you're like, you know, this light-hearted character versus this darker and grittier situation. What is that gonna look like? I want that contrast with his art.
Nice. And the last question is pretty easy. Where can everyone find your comics and support your Kickstarter?
Absolutely. So, MidnightXcomics.org. If you visit there, we have a nice giant banner at the top that says support the Kickstarter right there at the top. You click on that, that'll lead you right to the Kickstarter. And of course, all of our social media is MidnightxComics everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube, where it's just Midnight Comics.
All right. And you guys have a podcast? I think I saw something on your website about that.
Yes. So I have one for the Indie Breakdown. It's a show where we break down comic book characters' power stats and abilities and get them ready for an indie versus matchup. So we interview other creators, talk specifically about their characters, and and the stories and gather all the feats and techniques and skills and stuff. And then go from there and have them duke it out. We do 10 interviews a season and then do a creator clash. And then at the end of it, we roll a randomizer wheel and have the official matchup. And we write a script for those characters to win with our opinion on which character would win. And then Tasha has one called Melanin Mind, uplifting Black women in the comic book space. So she talks to various women, again, in that comic book space and gets to know them, their contributions to the space, and learn more about what they have coming down the pipeline.
Both of those podcasts, starkly different, but both incredibly amazing. I'm going to check out both of those. Subscribe to both of them on YouTube, right?
Yes.
All right. Definitely will do that, and you guys should do that as well. Go check out MidnightxComics, free digital comic, right? If you subscribe and all that,
yes. If you subscribe to the mailing list, you get a free book, and the free book this month is The Blue Morpho.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We were just talking about The Blue Morpho. So, Lloyd, I appreciate you hanging out and letting everybody know what you guys are all about, and everybody go support that Kickstarter.
Thank you.
This story sounds like it's going to be pretty deep. Like it already is pretty deep. Book 5 technically, right? Because
book 5.
Yeah. So I'll be on the lookout for that and many more of your stories. Appreciate you coming out, man.
Thanks for having me, dude. Thanks. And on short notice, I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. No problem. I was like 10 days left. Oh, well, that will not work next week. Let's do it right now. But
thank you.
No problem. All right, Blerd, I appreciate y'all hanging out once again, and we'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.
Living just enough. Living just for the city. Living. Why not?